CQ, this is W9GFO. Come back. Welcome to Crypto Aera, mental analysis navigation, no fluff. I'm Craft, and today we're diving into the fascinating world of mental analysis for traders. Now, our story today begins with the trader's equation. Whether a noob, intermediate, or a veteran trader, this moment never ceases, guys. It's only you and the candle. That one candle that everything depends on, or at least we think it's that candle, upon which actions are taken. Essentially, once candles are integrated into one's life, a cycle begins. Now, imagine a bunch of minions floating in donuts with their hands up in the air, googly's eyes out, one is smiling, one is tripping, one is just freaking scared out of his mind. Now, do these expressions sound familiar? It's just really too bad nobody takes true selfies during the time of trading, because these moments, they really matter for a harmonious and constructive candle relationship. You really don't know what you look like when you trade. So, moving forward, when entering the financial investment realm as a day trader, swinger, long-term hodler, or spectator, the main focus is typically set on one component, and that component is, we all can guess it, growing your capital, right? So the journey begins. We never tend to understand that there are other components running in the background in hindsight, like a background app that just kind of, updates on its own. And the one that we're discuss today, or one of, is energy, the power for capacity, cognition for information processing, and there's the annoying one, risk. There's no guarantees in life after all. We do take our chances. Threshold levels, and approach vary from person to person. There's no denying that. So you have to imagine a chart in your head, and with the components ranging from high to low and low to high versus time. These four components mentioned are consciously known when one makes a commitment to a trade or an investment. The fluctuation process activates instantly, but is unfortunately neglected at times. One makes a few trades, and in the perfect world, our component, quote-unquote capital, gains positive P&L traction. So, due to these successful returns, one gets a subtle surprise from happiness. That's another component. It creeps up. Now, how can one decline such a guest? It's happiness after all, right? So, as time proceeds, all five components continue to fluctuate. In this case, our P&L is positive. The trades continue, and the progress is great. One does not notice there's a slight physical decline in energy, which is directly tied to cognition. Remember that, guys. The market is hot and simply irresistible. One disregards all the early signs of diminishing energy and continues to trade. Tick-tock, more time passes by, and one battles it out for a grand win, conquering the most successful trade yet. So our component capital is an all-time high. Happiness is through the roof. Risk quietly creeps up. Meanwhile, energy is naturally looking for an outlet. Cognition is very much present. Not at 100% capacity, but still good to go. How can anyone deny there's anything wrong? The task at hand was a success. Now, happiness expressed way too much excitement, and it really made a big noise in the neighborhood. And guess who shows up and hears all about the amazing news? Euphoria comes from a shopping spree in a big purple suit, all excited beyond belief. Now, unfortunately, cognition is not enthusiastic about Euphoria's unexpected visit. Now there's this mad tension, right? Energy is literally burned out and simply seeps to unplug. Euphoria makes a grand entrance, stealing all the limelight from happiness. Starts chatting up one about capital's amazing news and proposes all kinds of plans and ideas, kind of like a light bulb moment for implementation. Risk is eavesdropping on the conversation and has zero intention of leaving. Although energetically drained with a temporary cognitive decline, one goes along with it all. The plans sound great, yay, keep going. One continues vibing with Euphoria, but notices capital isn't doing too good. Risk is on full standby, concerned, tapping his foot. Euphoria is still prancing around in his purple suit in the background, urging one and the capital's performance will be fine. Meanwhile, Risk, feeling uncomfortable with the entire situation about capital stats, calls Indecision to swing by. And here we have an elevator door open, and guess who walks in? Indecision, concerned. At this point, all eyes on capital. Juan desperately seeks for a solution. Indecision, standing around, can't make up his mind on what to do next, so he requests that SOS flies in on his parachute to figure out what's wrong with capital. Voila. Looking at the situation now, Juan has a full meet and greet with SOS and a sit down with Indecision. They trial out an idea after idea, but our capital, the main component, is only getting worse. Energy is sprawled out on the sofa, literally drained from the situation. Cognition is attempting to join in on the conversation, but it's a fail because SOS and Indecision are bickering back and forth. Euphoria lost interest and is about to make an exit, and you can hear the massive door slam. So there's a little bit of silence. I'm feeling a bit, hopelessness. And that's exactly what we need. Out of nowhere, hope drops by like a shimmering glimmer of light at the end of the tunnel. Ha moment, right? We all have it. SOS and Indecision both sigh with a bit of relief and relying on hope to have a solution for capital. It's hope after all, right? Risk is pragmatic, who prefers concrete details for hope, but hope is all smiles while being positively ambiguous. Meanwhile, one is impatiently watching from the sidelines, paralyzed to some extent, listening to all of his uninvited guests. All the noise. One is not pleased whatsoever. Now, guys, we're keeping this G-rated. So you can imagine a minion standing in a suit and his bow tie, wearing nothing but undergarments. Not a happy guy, right? At this exact point, the road forks onto paths that will lead to very different outcomes. By now, you have observed a fluctuating chart for physical and emotional attributes that go through a metamorphosis, which 99% of traders experience, and it's only the tip of the iceberg. The objective is to keep uninvited guests out of your mind and avoid getting triggered to follow the rabbit into a dark, destructive place. Instead, tend to the fundamental components that truly serve as pillars for pristine technical analysis and execution of your strategy. Aside from mental analysis, be mindful of your physical vitals. Not referring to fitness and health food regimes, that's for another time, but keep focus. Your self-awareness. Observe yourself. Tend to the components that keep your trading sustainable. Avoid chasing capital, aka ghost money, quote unquote, in zombie mode, because aside from obtaining trading PTSD, you'll acquire a candidacy of uninvited guests roaming around in your utmost personal space, your mind, and you cannot do that. Now, you come to a time later, and this time is filled with consistency. Once the mind steps in to address and manage the physical and the mental analysis of oneself, technical analysis will reflect upon these changes. Whether taking a long or a short position, metaphorically speaking, it functions like a pill with a tiny font-sized disclaimer. May cause side effects, XYZ, and by the way, they morph sporadically. The keyword is may. Therefore, become aware of other kinds of charts that subtly run in the background besides the ones we look at on TradingView, etc. As trading becomes a lifestyle for some, there will be countless trades and investments on the way. There is no point of personally getting burned out in this field. You're not a candle, guys. To be continued, over and out. Craft.